You just said sorry. Again. And if you stop for a second and actually think about it, you have no idea what you were apologizing for. Someone walked into you and you said sorry. You asked a perfectly reasonable question, and you started it with, "Sorry to bother you." Someone was in a bad mood and you apologized as if you caused it. You shared an opinion and prefaced it with sorry, but as if your own thoughts need a disclaimer before they're allowed to exist. And the worst part? You didn't even notice. It was automatic. It was out of your mouth before your brain had a chance to catch up. This isn't about being polite. This isn't just a habit. There is something much deeper going on. And once you understand what it is, you will never look at your apologies the same way again. There's a concept called the fawn response. Most people know about fight, flight, and freeze, the classic stress responses. The fawn response is the fourth one, and it's the one nobody talks about. It was first described by therapist Pete Walker, who spent years working with adults who grew up in unpredictable or emotionally unsafe environments. The fawn response is what happens when a person learns, usually as a child, that the safest way to handle a threatening situation is to appease, to smooth things over, to make yourself agreeable, small, easy to be around. Because at some point in your life, disagreement felt dangerous. Someone's anger felt like a real threat, and the fastest way to make it stop was to take the blame, even when it wasn't yours. So your nervous system learned, apologize first, ask questions later. Preempt the conflict before it starts. Take responsibility so nobody else has a reason to be upset with you. That strategy made sense once. It may have genuinely protected you. The problem is that the nervous system doesn't retire a strategy just because the original danger is gone. It keeps running the same program, even when the person in front of you is nothing like the person from your past. Here's what makes this pattern so hard to see in yourself. Over-apologizing doesn't feel like fear. It feels like consideration. It feels like you're just being a thoughtful person, making sure no one is uncomfortable, keeping things smooth. And in a way, that's true, you are doing those things. But the reason you feel compelled to do them constantly, automatically, even when nothing has gone wrong, is not consideration. It's anxiety. It's a nervous system that is always underneath everything, scanning for signs that someone might be upset with you. Psychologists call this hypervigilance to social threat. Your brain is running a background process at all times, monitoring faces, tone of voice, body language, looking for any signal that someone might be disappointed, irritated, or pulling away. And the moment it detects something, even something ambiguous, it triggers the apology as a way to neutralize the perceived threat before it escalates. Research published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology found that people with anxious attachment, a relational style that often develops when early relationships were inconsistent or unpredictable, apologize significantly more often than others. And importantly, these apologies aren't driven by guilt. They're driven by the need to feel safe in the relationship. The apology is not really for the other person. It's for your own nervous system. It's a way of closing a gap that feels dangerous before it has a chance to grow. There's also something worth understanding about how over-apologizers experience responsibility. The pattern is almost always connected to a deeply held, usually unconscious belief that other people's negative emotional states are somehow connected to you. If someone seems irritated, the immediate internal response is, "What did I do?" If there's tension in a room, the reflex is to fix it. If someone is disappointed, even about something that has nothing to do with you, your body responds as if it's your fault. This isn't arrogance. It's actually closer to the opposite. It's the feeling that you are always slightly too much, always a little too present, always one small misstep away from causing a problem. And the apology becomes a way of preemptively managing that, of making yourself smaller before anyone asks you to. So what actually helps? Because telling yourself to just stop apologizing doesn't work. The reflex is faster than the decision. You've said sorry before your conscious mind has even registered what happened. The first thing that genuinely works is building a pause, not suppressing the urge, but noticing it. When you feel the impulse to apologize, instead of acting on it immediately, you observe it for 2 or 3 seconds. You ask yourself one question: did I actually do something wrong here? If the answer is no, you have a choice. This works because it activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for deliberate reasoning, instead of letting the automatic stress response run unchecked. It's a small intervention, but repeated consistently, it starts to rewire the pattern. The second thing is learning to sit with the discomfort that comes from not apologizing, because it will feel wrong. It will feel like you've left something unresolved, like the other person might be upset, like you've done something unkind by staying quiet. That discomfort is not a sign that you've made a mistake. It's your nervous system doing what it always does, pulling you back toward the familiar. Letting it exist without acting on it is exactly how the pattern loses its hold over time. And the third thing is the one that takes longest but matters most: beginning to question the belief that your presence needs to be justified, that you have to earn your place in conversations, in relationships, in rooms, that you are somehow by default too much. That belief is the root of all of it. And it doesn't shift through willpower. It shifts through experience, through showing up fully without shrinking, and discovering again and again that the world doesn't fall apart when you do. Over-apologizing looks like politeness from the outside, but from the inside, it's exhausting. It's the constant background work of managing everyone else's comfort at the expense of your own. It's walking into every room already braced for the moment you accidentally become too much. You were not born doing this. You learned it because at some point it kept you safe. The question now is whether you still need it to.